Back on 2IT Sports, Francis and Jason, and some shocking news. Well, not shocking, because we expected this. But it just turns out that there is nothing that will get an Olympics, specifically in areas that are torn apart with many different problems, cancelled. There's just no way these things can be cancelled because everything that you can imagine in the world has went wrong in Rio with this Olympics. But it's still, like, you go down the checklist of epidemics that are waiting to happen, and you could just tick off so many things in Rio. Potential disease, check. Financial crisis, fucking check. Disgustingly disease-ridden water, check. Corruption, check. Doping, fucking massive check. And it's still going ahead. But now there is latest news out of Rio, right? So according, just as the article says on the Telegraph and Yahoo, less than 2 months before Rio de Janeiro is set to host the Olympic game, the state's acting governor has declared a state of public calamity, which means there's a state of emergency because they have financial crisis that is almost unfixable, which has been going on since the World Cup came, tore the country apart, but on front of the millions that watched it, looked fantastic, left them rotten, went out and then take another competition in there and do the same thing. Countless instances we've read about where they flood money in, where they kick people out. And what is it all for? For this spectacle. But who's left at the bottom of the pile? It's the people of Brazil. It's now the state is in a state of crisis now where they can't seem to bounce back. And it's just more articles come out that you just ask the question is, what does it take, Jason? What does it take to get a competition cancelled? I know it's late, but what does it take?
It's not possible. This would be the most prime example. I mean, like what we're seeing, obviously, and we can get into like 2022 with Qatar, but when it comes to the World Cup and the Olympics, there is absolutely nothing that will get it canceled. And it's actually a little bit pathetic on the Olympic committees and the decision on how these places are chosen to be built. Because again, we've been over this about like a year ago or 2 years ago. We did a couple clips, specifically with Ben, to which people don't realize that the city does not make money from this. They spend, and then the Olympic Committee takes most.
Yeah, the organizations.
It's a scheme. It's pretty much a really bad, elaborate, well-broadcasted pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
And it's messed up on so many levels. Now, this is where people are going to say, like, this might be an elitist mentality. Now, I don't want to turn off people by saying something wrong, but no, Rio's not a place that can host a world event like this. Qatar's not a place that can host a world event. So when I say, yes, the United States, London, Russia, China are pretty much should be the go-tos almost every single time for an Olympics, and I get it, it's a world event. We're supposed to bring the world together. But when you're decimating a city that needs to be rebuilt already from 2 years back, and you're decimating a city, then no, you shouldn't be hosting these events. But it's not like, because to them, they want, it's not like Rio doesn't want the Olympics. They just can't do it. Yeah. $5.85 billion in projected debt for 2016 for Brazil, for Rio. The state has been delaying payments to public servants. Public servants. Just so everyone's aware of that, public servants include police officers, firefighters, those who are going to be helping lives, trash men. They include what's going to hopefully be cleaning up the Olympics. They're not getting paid. Yep. And what's going to happen? They're going to probably stop working. And of course, it's all going to tumble over. But as you put it perfectly when you open the clip, it's going to get broadcasted and it's going to be beautifully photographed. Yep. And people are not going to see the real light underneath what's going on. And it's just going to look like, well, there's the guy hosting up his gold medal. You know who won't be hoisting any gold medals, though? Hoisting any gold medals or wearing them. That would be all of the Russian track and field team.
Yes, they won't be there, of course. So they are banned from the competition.
The IOC held up their...
due to the doping scandal that took place. So I don't imagine Vladimir Putin, who is definitely, he's vocalized how much of a fan he is for sports.
Great hockey player.
And he loves to showcase that Russia can go forward and create some of the best athletes in the world. But by create, I mean... manufacture.
Germany could host an Olympics too. I'm not trying to leave.
No, I get what you mean.
London, a lot of Europe can actually.
There will be people in there that will pick apart. You said London and not the full of the UK. We get it. London, he's talking about the fact that London had the Olympics. It's the fact that we were successful and people are not dying. Our country is not
In debt.
decimating in debt, basically.
The
by
waters
the
are
point
not
of,
polluted.
Yes, exactly. As we went through the checklist, like we don't need to go into the specific details. You know what the gist of this is. But as you've put it so well, and of course the author of this article, Francisco Dornelles, said, the Olympic Games will be a success to a worldwide audience who are just watching it through a lens, who are watching it through their television. And it says, no country will make the Olympic Games so well done, so well equated as Rio de Janeiro and Brazil. The World Cup looked fantastic. But then if you go back now, which a bunch of the phenomenal documentaries out there show you, as you should go and look at, is the stadiums are now the world's biggest place for birds to shit. And the fact that there is just people who are staying in shanty towns to even give a little bit of shelter, a little bit of a homely environment, were kicked out. I did a full Facebook clip on it. You can check that out. I'll leave the link in the description about how places like Qatar and these places like Brazil is that they are not well built from infrastructure up. Like they can make it seem like they've got enough money because these guys are professionals at moving budgets around, but they can't hold it together.
Anybody can make it seem like anybody with a camera can make one speck of a wall look like a masterpiece.
I can make you look like LeBron James on a basketball court from using an edit.
LeBron, I don't know why we still got LeBron over
Oh,
here.
yeah,
By the way,
LeBron's-
in addition to everything that you listed on your checklist of things that we shouldn't be hosting an Olympics for, president was impeached, political upheaval, the debt crisis is getting even worse. Like, it's in such shambles, you kind of question who's running anything in Rio right now. And again, and this is the worst part of everything, the people of Rio de Janeiro, the citizens, they're the ones who are going to suffer the most out of all of this.
Yeah. And to answer your question is who's running it, it's the same people who run every country, just some countries have the ability to rebuild. Like the USA, who ran the financial crisis and ran everyone's mortgages and loans and everything else into the ground.
Because we made up a couple.
We'll make up a couple of deposits. It's no problem. The same thing is
some credit unions.
In general, the United States is as well off enough collectively to try and rebuild, whereas Rio doesn't have that infrastructure, as you mentioned. President was impeached. There's no, I would say, safety net there to say to the people of Rio and the people of Brazil that your money's going to come back.
Safety net? I don't think there was a net.
Yeah, there's a safety net that is big enough to catch alligators. There's massive gaping holes in it. There's no way.
Do they have alligators in Rio?
Probably now. Probably found their way. They probably just put them in to make the swimmers even worse off. You can swim in this shit-infested water, but we'll put some alligators in there.
You know what they might have? You know, because the water's so infected, they might have some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, they might.
There will be after this. And we're laughing because we're trying to, like, it's just, it is laughable. Yeah, it's laughable, the fact that this competition's going forward. And we've talked about it in so many clips. There should be a full Olympic discussion playlist on our channel because we were ripped apart.
There is. It's the 2016 Rio.
Is it? That is. Right, thanks, Dan. Thanks for making that. And it is to the point where that is the question. The title of the clip, as much as it might not be, it should be, what does it take for an Olympics to be cancelled? And the answer is nothing. If it's going to go ahead, if the pockets of those who got the competition there are going to remain lined by the good old green, I don't mean marijuana, then they will continue to push forward the competition. The same way as the World Cup will go ahead in Qatar. You can bring more horrific stories to everyone's attention. We just seen one there in which a female was raped in Qatar and went to jail because of their medieval laws.
Well, because she reported it, right?
Yeah, reported it. And their medieval laws is another reason why the competition shouldn't be held in Qatar. We did a clip on that as well. The fact is that the people keep dying because they're having cardiac arrests, and the Qatari law prevents independent investigations unless a crime is reported or there's a crime that's sensed around there. Is it not a crime then? The fact that people are dying trying to build the stadiums, working under the most ridiculous conditions, not being paid. These countries that are set to host these competitions, it's supposed to be bringing everyone together and making it seem that they can withstand all of the pressures that go along with a major competition. And the countries need to be left in a better state. They need to be benefiting from this because they are playing host. You don't go over to someone's house for dinner, eat all their food, and then just take a massive shit on their carpet and they don't clean it up. Because that's exactly what it is. The people are leaving these countries in dire states. And people will just bypass it. And it's our job, everyone is involved in media, to bring it up and state that it's not okay.
The worst part is that the shit on the carpet goes to jail. At least in Qatar. That's how it works. All right, what do you guys think about the Rio Olympics? I mean, we know what pretty much you guys think about the Rio Olympics because we had the comment section below. The question we have for you is, what would it take for an Olympics to actually get canceled? And in this situation, do you think the Olympics gets canceled? Where do you move it to? What do you do? Maybe we have to do a clip on that at some point too. What do you do if an Olympics does get canceled? Comment below, like, favorite, subscribe at Francis_Maxwell on Twitter, at Francis Maxwell Host on Instagram, JaceRumer91 for both. The links in the description are actually updated and working. They weren't for about 4 months.
And we will actually put the links in the description of the other things because we keep saying it and everyone's searching for the links. Where are the links, Jason?
Oh, I'll put the links in this time. I always say that though.
Scottish people like the links.